exactly what you want to see. Let's run this puppy in. Score a touchdown and tie this game. Life, run for your life, touchdown on one play. Worked on this in practice. Touchdown. It's up to Kelvin Benjamin. This is all you, buddy. Kelvin Benjamin for a touchdown. Oh, he toasted his man. Holmes toasted his man. Spin move. Oh! Oh! What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video here on the What Did You channel, and welcome back to some more recap and review of the Ohio State Buckeyes versus, this time, Nebraska. Let's get into it. Let's not waste any more time. I don't know what you want me to say. I don't know how you want me to react, because this game was not the game that I thought it was going to be. Now, I know that in the prediction, or the preview episode, the pregame episode yesterday, I said that it was going to be a blowout. It was going to be a very high-scoring game for the Buckeyes, and it was going to be like a 70-point game for the Buckeyes. I know I mentioned all that in the last episode. But truly deep down, did I really think it was going to be that big of a game? No. I knew the underwhelming performances that this team can produce at times against lesser competition. And let's be fair, Nebraska is clearly lesser competition. They didn't seem to play like that yesterday, but they are clearly lesser competition. Now, I also know that this Buckeye offense is very, very explosive. Case in point, Jackson Smith and Jigba had a Buckeye record in a single game of 15 catches, and another Buckeye in-game record, a single game record, of 240 yards. He came second to Terry Glenn in all-time in a single game for Buckeye receivers. So Jackson Smith and Jigba was a really, really bright spot in this game. Now, Gary Wilson did not play in this game. It was really undisclosed the entire day. I saw some rumors going around on Twitter that he didn't make the trip to Nebraska because of concussion-like symptoms from the game against Penn State. I couldn't really see if that was confirmed or not. Nobody really said anything, and I haven't seen anything today on the real reason why he wasn't in the game and why he didn't make the trip. But he didn't make the trip, so he didn't play. It was Jackson Smith and Jigba show, basically. He went crazy, and he had his best game ever as a Buckeye of his career, and he proved why this wide receiver core, even without the second best receiver, or some people think the best receiver on this team, they proved why they are the deepest and the best wide receiver core in the entire country. Because even when your top receiver goes down, you still have 3-4 other top receivers that would be number ones on any other team in the country. You still have them all to choose to throw to. So that is a bright spot of this game. Now, the downside to playing a team like Nebraska, or to play a team of this caliber, it's the same with Iowa, it's the same with Penn State, or Purdue, or any team of that kind of stature, I guess, the second tier of Big Ten football, is everybody plays up to the Buckeyes. Because everybody wants to be the team that knocked off Ohio State. You want to have that Purdue moment. You want to have that Iowa moment. You want to have that moment where you got the shock factor. You knocked off the Ohio State University in your house or in the shoe. But you want to have that moment. So everybody plays so much better than what they actually can play against the Buckeyes. And I've come to accept that fact. Because when you're a team like Ohio State, when you're a team like Alabama, when you're a team like Clemson, not this year, but in previous seasons, when you're a team of that stature, you're going to get everybody's best shot. No matter what day it is, no matter if it's a trap game or not, you're going to get everybody's best shot. So Nebraska definitely gave the Buckeyes their best shot. Now, they arguably could have won this game if they didn't shoot themselves in the foot with horrible play calling from Scott Frost, with horrible play calling or play making from Adrian Martinez, and just missed opportunities, drops. Everything went bad for Nebraska towards the end. And just Scott Frost really just doesn't know how to manage a game. He's kind of like James Franklin in a way, where James Franklin, time in and time out against the Buckeyes and against other teams too, but mainly against the Buckeyes, has horrible mismanaging of the play clock, of the actual game clock. He has horrible play calling in the clutch moments. He makes weird decisions in fourth down territory when you need to have a first down. Like he makes weird decisions, and Scott Frost seems to do the same thing. At least he did yesterday against the Buckeyes. So it was a weird game. The Buckeyes didn't score until the second quarter, a little bit later in the second quarter too, and then they scored 17 points. They kind of just survived, which is a weird thing to say when you're talking about the Buckeyes, because the Buckeyes aren't known to just survive teams. They are known to kill teams and destroy teams. But that wasn't the case yesterday. They win 26-17 against a Nebraska team that is no longer bowl eligible. Scott Frost is going to get fired at the end of the season. Arguably should have been fired after the game on Saturday with some of the play calling decisions that he made, but he's going to get fired at the end of the season. This Nebraska team's going nowhere. They're not that great of a football team, and yet the Buckeyes only put up 26 points, and they did not look good on offense. There was, again, more sloppy penalties on offense, holding calls unnecessarily, just boneheaded mistakes. You just can't have that. If you're going to play a team like Georgia or a team like Alabama or a team that's got real championship aspirations, you can't make these mistakes. CJ Stroud, I don't know where to begin. Yes, I understand. I do. I hear it all the time on Twitter. CJ Stroud is a freshman quarterback. He's a redshirt freshman. I understand this. But you got to listen to me. You got to listen right now. Listen close, listen carefully. It doesn't matter if you're a true freshman, redshirt freshman, or a senior, or anything in between. If you are the starting quarterback at Ohio State, it's a different level. Yes, it's a different level of pressure, but it's also a different level of talent. So it doesn't matter if he's if he's a freshman quarterback starting for a big time program like Ohio State. You need to be ready. And CJ Stroud looked really, really good, but he looked good against bad teams. And the two times he's played decent teams, he struggled, which is a little bit worrying because we're getting into the really, really good teams down the stretch of the season. We've got Purdue, Michigan State, and Meat Chicken. That's what we have the next 3 games. So now you can say what you want about Purdue. They did just knock off the number 3 team in the country, but I still don't think Purdue's that great. They have a really good receiver, but other than that, I don't think they're that good of a team. So we'll get into that next Saturday when we talk about it. But CJ Stroud had 2 interceptions in this game, and they were both unacceptable. The first one, he had unbelievable amounts of open space to run the football as he rolled out of the pocket. And yet he decided to trust his arm and force a pass to Jackson Smith-Njigba on the sideline towards the goal line. And the pass was picked off by an awaiting corner. I think it was a corner. It might have been a linebacker. Doesn't matter. By a Nebraska player, because CJ Stroud chose not to run the football. Now, CJ did run a couple of times. I think it was like 3 or 4 times that CJ Stroud ran the football. But we talk about this week in and week out. Why doesn't CJ Stroud run? I don't know if it's a confidence thing or lack thereof, or if he's afraid to get hit, or he just trusts his arm more than he trusts his legs. I don't know what it is, but it needs to be figured out quickly, because you are not going to beat teams when the linebackers and the safeties and the defensive linemen don't have to worry about the quarterback not running. You need to have that element. I talked about this all the way back in the first couple of games of the season, where if you have a quarterback that can, it doesn't have to be a Lamar Jackson type, it doesn't have to be a JT Barrett type, but he just has to have that ability to escape the pocket and get 10 yards, get 5 yards, get a big play, get a first down when you need to, because then that adds a different layer that the linebackers, that the defense has to cover. And that opens up the run game. That opens up the pass game. But no, CJ just doesn't do it. He seems like he's allergic to running the football. He will do literally everything else except for run the football. He will even run out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage and take a loss of yardage, then run the football. And I'm not saying he's the quick. You don't have to be the quickest guy in the world. You don't have to run a 4.2 40 to be athletic and to get a first down. So you just have to be able to be smart with the football. And if you're smart with the football, you'll be able to make things happen, make guys miss, and get those needed yardage. But CJ Stroud doesn't do that. I don't understand why he doesn't. He's good enough, he's smart enough, he's athletic enough, he's strong enough, but he doesn't take those opportunities. And it holds the offense back. And that's what I'm worried about when we're starting to play the big teams, when we have to play Georgia, when we have to play Alabama, when we have to play Michigan or Michigan State. That's what happens. That's what I'm worried about, is that CJ Stroud's going to hold this offense back because Ryan Day is going to be forced to call 50, 60 plays that are passes for CJ Stroud because he doesn't feel confident with the run game, because the run game hasn't been established, because either Trayvon Henderson or Mayan Williams or Master Teague hasn't been getting it going, or CJ Stroud hasn't been able to extend plays and run the football. And that's what frustrates me the most. I said this when I was watching the game. I said, this offense is more frustrating than the offense that Urban Meyer ran with JT Barrett. Because at least then, that was frustrating, but at least then you knew what was going to happen. You knew that in a 3rd down and 2, or a 3rd down and 7, or anything, or a 2nd down, like whatever, you knew JT Barrett was going to get that ball and he was going to run. But this offense has so much more potential, and it's just held back by the fact that CJ Stroud denies the run game altogether. Like, he hands it off fine to Trayvon Henderson, and Trayvon Henderson's a stud. He didn't have 100 yards in this game, but he's a stud. So that's not the problem. The running back's not the problem. CJ Stroud is the problem right now. And he's not the problem through the air. He still needs to work on his mechanics. He's not completely finished yet, but that's understandable because this is his first ever season starting as a quarterback in college football. So he needs to work on his mechanics, obviously, but he's nowhere near polished. But he is a solid passer. He can get the job done. He misses a couple throws here and there, but he can get the job done if you need him to through the air. It's the run game with CJ that just frustrates me and infuriates me because the potential is there. He can get those 5-yard gains. He can get those 10-yard gains, but he just doesn't take them. And it's just so frustrating because he knows. I know for a fact that he knows he can take those opportunities. He just doesn't, and that's the worst part of it. Because this team would be so much better off. It would make it so much easier for this offense and for Ryan Day to call plays and to make things flow easier. He just doesn't take it. It's frustrating. Now, the defensive side of things were better. They struggled in the second half a little bit. They played really, really good football in the first half. The defense played outstanding football in the first half. They did struggle a little bit in the second half. They sacked Adrian Martinez a bunch. And it's weird. The defense is not great, but they are better than they were at the beginning of the season, which is a very, very good improvement. We switched from Kerry Combs to Matt Barnes calling plays on defense, and so the defense has gotten better. They play more zone defense than man-to-man, and that seems to have worked out. They did let one of the Nebraska wide receivers go for like 150 yards on 4 catches, so that needs to be polished out. It needs to be worked, but other than that, Adrian Martinez is really not a threat passing the football. He makes a lot of mistakes. He threw like his 46th career interception in this game. So, I mean, Adrian Martinez is not a threat at all. He is a threat running the football, but other than that, he's not a threat. And so I don't know, man. This was a frustrating game because you knew the Buckeye potential, and they killed themselves, and they're lucky they survived this game. And as a Buckeye fan, you should never say the Buckeyes survived a game, but they definitely survived this game, and they survived that Penn State game too. So that's 2 weeks in a row where they've survived games, and you don't want that to be the case as we're getting into intense November football. So that's all I got to say on that. Let me know down below what you guys thought. It was a Buckeye win. I know it doesn't sound like it was a Buckeye win, but it was a Buckeye win 26-17 over Nebraska. Let me know down below what you guys thought of the game. That's going to do it for me, though. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and watching. Make sure to smash that like button, notification bell, and the subscription button as well. Join the Juice Club. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.